Yeah, hi Basant.
Hi Rohit. Hi Rohit. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm also good. So let's directly jump into the interview question. So, which and all objects you have worked in Appian?
I have worked on interface, record, reports, process model, integration, web API. Almost most of them I have touched, and I worked on it.
What are the best practices? Okay, before going into that question, so which module you are working currently? Like not module, like which version you are working currently?
I am currently working on 24.3.
Okay, so what are the best practices you are following while writing, while designing a process model?
So while designing a process model, first of all, we need to make sure that we have a proper security configured, and after that, we need to check for the data management is set properly so that the instance will be archived and there will not be much load on our Appian servers. And we need to give a proper alert. So whenever any instance break, the alert will be sent to the a specific group of people via email that this process is broken. And we should be not using more than 33 node inside the process model. If there is any repeated task, we should convert it to the sub process and use that. And if it is asynchronous task, then it's asynchronous task, and we don't need any information. If there is any email writing, then we should be using this in either asynchronous process or in the start process. And we should give proper comment to the process model so that other developer can understand what is being done inside this process model. And proper annotation of all the paths need to be there. Means if there is any in path going out of the XOR gate and get with path what it is doing, its proper annotation should be there. Yeah.
So, what is the least privilege a user should have to start a process model?
Initiator we should be having.
Okay. And how you will provide security to a process model?
We need to go to the in files. Then inside the files, we need to go to security and configure the security. We need to add a group of users to the particular access, like who is administrator, who is the business user want to have viewer or initiator, right? Depending upon the requirement, we need to configure them.
Okay. So, assume there is a process instance running. So, whenever we have any process model that runs, so they have instance and we can check that in monitoring tab. Assume I have open an interface and then instead of clicking on submit button, we have two buttons generally, submit and cancel. So if I'll be clicking on cancel button, I don't want to see any instance from for that particular process model in the monitoring tab. So what do you do for that?
So it depends. Means on the start of that particular, but on the click of that particular button, we are running one process model, or that interface is being called inside the user input task. So if there is any instance which is running directly on the click of the button, then definitely that instance will come into the monitoring tab.
Okay. So what is the synchronous and asynchronous?
Mm. Synchronous, it's a sub process. A synchronous sub process is a sequential execution. And asynchronous is that the next execution of next node happens immediately once the synchronous process node start execution. So what happens here, if the main process model is calling a sub process synchronously, then the execution of main process model node will happen. After that, that synchronous sub-process execution will happen. Then it will go to the next node and do the execution. If that particular process model is called asynchronously, then the main process node will execute. Asynchronous sub-process start execution, and immediately it will not wait for asynchronous sub-process to get it completed, but next node will start immediately.
Okay, so what is uh, escalation and what is exception?
If escalation and exception, so if the certain user, if task is assigned to certain user and it is having a deadline to complete it, then we can send a notification to the user that you need to complete this task. It's waiting for so much time. This will be sent as an email to the user that this task is pending to you. You need to perform or take action on it. Or if we can send a multiple reminders to the by escalation. And even we can in this escalation we can also loop their team lead or manager depending how we are configuring that. And in the exception, if suppose for the certain period of time the user has not performed the task, then we will follow the exception path and directly terminate the interface back in the connecting it to the end node. So the exception will directly terminate the task.
Okay, assume like I have one uh, node where that node like breaks. So how we will like achieve escalation sorry exception path over there, like
Please come again.
uh, in the process model there is a node and
Mhm.
that node is like breaking. So there I want to bypass it. Like if it is breaking, I want to complete this with the help of exception flow. How we will like do that? Or let's assume that is waiting for longer time, and I don't want to wait that for longer time. I want to finish that uh, uh,
So
instance. How will do? How will achieve that?
As per my knowledge, I think we can't bypass the node. If there is any error occur, it will wait for that particular node only. We need to then we need to go to the monitoring tab and change make it open it in edit mode, change the instance, and then we need can execute the next node or bypass it via XOR gate, giving the XOR gate that particular node. But as per my knowledge, we can't if there is any error happen, it will stop there only. Next node or
Okay.
exception path will won't be executed.
Okay. So how many max activity chaining we can have in a process model?
As per the best practices, we should not be having more than 50 nodes between two user input tasks.
Okay. So, and what is activity chaining?
Activity chaining is between the two nodes. If it is activity chain, suppose there is two user input tasks between their multiple node. When it is activity chain and the same user need to perform both the tasks, then once they complete on the first task, immediately the next task will open for him if it is
Okay.
activity chain.
Okay. And how an activity chaining can decrease the performance of a process model?
if in activity chaining can suppose they if any nodes are if there is any nodes which is activity chained, execution will happen in a sequential manner. Okay, so if there is any start process, if there is anything like which does not require sequential execution, then there will be the open thread to them, and it will be that thread will open for him, and till the that process being completed, and there will be certain utilization of the memory also in that. So I will say that if the activity chaining might break, I'm not sure about the exact timing. If in between two nodes, if it crosses like that particular time, then activity chain definitely is going to break, and user will not see the task second if there is two node in between that, if there it takes the execution is taking more than, suppose I'm giving example of 10 second, if it's taking more than 10 second, that particular node won't execute, means that particular interface won't open for them, activity chain interface.
Okay, so I have a process model. In that process model, we are following we have a looping in that. So inside that looping, we have two activity chaining, and assume that loop runs 50 times. So in that case, how much like activity chaining we will count it, like whether it is like 3, 2 or something more than that. Generally, the recommended part is to have like 50, but in this case, we have a single process model, and that is in running in a loop. So how we will like count that activity chaining in this? We have two inside this process model, and that is running for 50 times.
So the activity chaining between execution, mm, as per my understanding, it will be like how many times that particular node is being executed, all the activity chain will be counted. But if it is done inside the loop, it's first of all, it's not a best way to do it. This activity chaining in looping, and if we are doing the then at after once the execution happens, then it should terminate, it should not open the next node, which is the user input task. So it should either in that node, or it will take execution will activity change will count as 100, I think, for each time it all the between the two nodes, if the activity or everything will be counted.
Okay, so assume one process instance is running and that breaks. How you will check the error and how you will fix that? Like what are the steps you will take to check the error and to fix the error?
So if there is any error in the instance, first of if it is in production environment, real-time environment, then definitely we'll get a notification of that. And once we click on that, it will directly open the process model for you. Otherwise, we need to go to the monitoring, and if we know the case ID or something, we can check it. Or there is an error also in last 24 hours. How much error has happened? We can click check on the box, and we can see the error, all the errors. In this way, we can know the this all this process has broken. And once we open that, we in the then we need to open that particular node and check the error. In the error tab, we'll see the exact error details. Uh, so it can vary. Error details can vary from one thing to other thing also, because it's the how it has been configured. So we need to go to edit mode. Then after identifying the error, we need to go to edit mode, fix the error, and save the version. And after that, we will close the edit mode, go to monitoring, and trigger start the same node which has broken. Or if we have to change the variable, then we can change the variable there also, and we can start the node. And after that, in this way we can fix the issue of broken instance.
Okay. And how to get data from process model?
You want to say you want to get a data. So for that, we need to
Yes.
create a process report. If we want to get a data from the person, we need to create a process report, and that report we need to make a document of it, and then document need to be called in the query process analytics. And once we query those data, then we can see in the result of the query.
Okay. So, Rohit, that's it from my end. Is there anything do you want to ask?
No, no, nothing. Yeah, thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah.